Okay, hi, I'm Brian. So first question is the form of government and the description in Canada. So Canadian government is something we call a representative parliamentary democracy, um, and we have a federal system. So we have a bigger government, the Canadian government, which represents the whole country. Then we also have a number of provincial governments and territorial governments that represent smaller units, and those kinds of governments, they have different powers and that they kind of share, and but they all have their own parliaments and their own elections and such. Political issues in Canada. Um, a big one right now has to do with climate change and oil pipelines. So people in Alberta, they have a lot of oil there, and they want ways to get that oil to the sea, either to the Atlantic Ocean or the Pacific Ocean. But there are a lot of environmentalist people who don't want people to use oil because they worry it's going to cause climate change, and so they try to stop them from getting that oil out of the ground, and so stop them from building pipelines. And so that's a major issue right now. Um, Another one, there was this big scandal with SNC-Lavalin, which is this company that was accused of corruption, and there was a question of whether they should actually be prosecuted for that or not. The current Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, thought they shouldn't because it would be bad politically, but his Minister of Justice thought that they should because of the rule of law, so that was a big scandal recently. Economic issues, similar to a lot of other countries, we have an issue with an aging population. So in the next few decades, a lot of the population is going to be becoming older, kind of older than 70, and so they're all going to be retiring, and we have to be able to support them in their old age, but in order to do that, we have to have a lot of younger workers, and in our country, our own population doesn't have very many babies for whatever reason. So then there's a question of immigration and what kinds of immigrants we want to bring in. So there's a lot of complicated questions around that. And also just for like a younger generation like me, there's a lot of issues with kind of getting your first job or being able to get a job that pays you enough money to be able to afford housing in the big cities where all the jobs are, because the housing in the big cities is very expensive right now, because a lot of people both from within the country or internationally want to buy the houses, and so they bid up the prices and make it really hard for young people to be able to afford their own place, especially on the kind of precarious jobs that a lot of them get. Unique cultural traditions in our country. Canada's culture is interesting because it's based on, it's what we call a settler culture. So it was initially, a lot of our cultural practices were brought from Britain or from France, depending on if you're in Quebec or the rest of Canada. So a lot of them are similar to those. So if you look at British culture or French culture, you'll see a lot of similarities in Canada. We also have Aboriginal cultures that kind of have a lot of worship of nature or rituals with nature that I guess is a part of the Canadian cultural traditions as well. But we have similar ones to Americans, like we have Thanksgiving where we eat turkey and such, but we have it on a different day than they do, so I guess that's unique. Religion and religious practices in my country. Canada is becoming less of a religious country over time. Initially, it was an overwhelmingly Christian country, and especially a Protestant country. So there are a lot of churches, so like the United Church or the Anglican Church or Methodist churches or Baptist churches. Those were the biggest sects earlier, and we still have a lot of churches from those faiths. Also, a lot of Catholic people came over, either from Ireland or the Philippines or Italy, and so kind of over time we've added more religions as well. And also now we have Muslims, we have Buddhists, we have all kinds of people practice a lot of different religions, but I think the majority of Canadians don't really practice any religion. Is globalization affecting our country in what way? Yeah, globalization affects Canada a lot. The number one is from immigration. So we have a what we call a multicultural policy where we accept immigrants from all over the world and we kind of celebrate their cultures that they bring. So just even you walk around a city like Toronto, you'll see all kinds of different restaurants from all over the world, all kinds of different people, all kinds of different like cultural traditions. So we have a lot of globalization just kind of right in our face, right in Canada. Another thing is a lot of the manufacturing jobs that we used to have around Ontario and other parts of Canada are now being moved to places like China or Mexico, and that's causing some problems for people who are used to doing manufacturing jobs. So it does cause that issue as well. Yeah, I mean that's good for now. So thanks.